educated, that gift is squandered in our broken society.
Well said. Good philosophy breeds good theology. That's how I was taught. So that's so important that you're doing that great work at the St. Philip Institute. How about a blessing now, Bishop Strickland, please?
Almighty God, we ask your blessing for Terry and all of those who work with him, for all in his diocese and the Diocese of Tyler, and for all people of faith, good citizens striving to live your truth, that we may be guided by your Holy Spirit with the intercession of all the saints, and especially the Queen of Saints, the Immaculate Virgin Mary. And we ask this blessing in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
May God richly bless you and your family. We'll see you again, please God, next week, same time, same station. God love you and your family.
Saint Faustina's Prayer for Priests. O my Jesus, I beg thee on behalf of the whole Church, grant it love and the light of thy Spirit, and give power to the words of priests, so that hardened hearts might be brought to repentance and return to thee, O Lord. Lord, give us holy priests. Thou thyself maintain them in holiness. O divine and great High Priest, may the power of thy mercy accompany them everywhere, and protect them from the devil's traps and snares, which are continually being set for the souls of priests. May the power of thy mercy, O Lord, shatter and bring to naught all that might tarnish the sanctity of priests. For thou canst do all things. Amen. Virgin most powerful, pray for us.
Guadalupe Radio Network announces the launch of La Promesa Legacy Circle, formed to recognize and honor our dedicated donors who have made long-term commitments to the network through gifts from their estates. We invite you to join our family and allow us to be a part of your personal legacy. For more information on making a legacy gift for the benefit of the GRN and a guide to charitable estate planning, contact our friends at the Catholic Foundation at 972-661-9792 or info@catholicfoundation.com.
Our young people today are growing up in a largely post-Christian culture, making the task of instilling the faith in teenagers all the more difficult for parents, catechists, and youth ministers. That's why, working alongside the parishes and schools, NET Ministries helps young people to encounter the person of Christ. NET's evangelistic retreats are led by vibrant young Catholic missionaries who use peer-to-peer ministry to bring God's love to retreatants. To schedule a NET retreat today, go to netusa.org/schedule.
At first, it was a relief. After it was over, I felt things would be better.
It was like this burden was lifted.
Then it happened. I had this unbelievable sadness.
I just started crying.
I regret what I have done.
Are you suffering because of a past abortion? If you are, you may feel alone, but you're not. There are people who understand and can help. Call 214-544-CARE or go to racheldallas.org.
I was so alone. I missed my child.
Now it's been years of this.
Don't suffer alone. Call 214-544-CARE or go to racheldallas.org.
Welcome to Back to the Father, a show about the journey of life focused on our final end, which is God Himself, our loving Father. And now, here's your host, Dave Palmer.
Hi there, and welcome to this edition of Back to the Father here on the Guadalupe Radio Network social media sites. And we are glad that you are with us today. We have a very, very interesting topic. In fact, I'm very surprised that I hadn't thought of this one before. I mean, this is like such a no-brainer, and it wasn't until our brilliant high school intern, William, brought this topic up last week during the show, and I thought, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So on the program today, we're going to talk about the end times as is written about by St. Thomas Aquinas in the Summa Theologia. You might be surprised at how little he has to say about this. He doesn't really go all that much, and I think there's a reason for that. So that's the topic. This is Back to the Father. I'll introduce you to our cast of interesting and somewhat eclectic characters here in the studio. We start with Sissel, who just 5 minutes ago was trying to figure out which hat she was going to
adorn myself
adorn
with.
yourself. For some reason I want to say bedeckle, but that's not a word, is it? I don't know why.
I think bedazzle is what
bedeckle.
you're going for, but it just did not.
Bedazzle,
Dave
yes.
did had a pretty violent reaction to one of the hats, so that pretty much made up the decision.
Well, just being honest. So you said, which one should I wear? And I said, not
I
that
was
one.
asking a hypothetical. I was like asking myself. I had an outside opinion that I didn't actually ask for, but it's okay.
Now, I'm still having PTSD because it's sitting there right in front of me. So anyways, how you doing? Good to see you.
Doing pretty well. I thought because we're in September now, right?
That's right.
In theory, weather should be turning, and in theory, we should be getting into fall. I mean, we are in Texas, so it's probably not going to happen for a while, but I thought a beret was appropriate.
Okay.
Mostly
All right.
because you thought the green one was also not cool. So
Yeah.
just for this is in defense of
here
the
it
cute little
is.
green,
Okay.
green hat.
Now everybody agrees with me after they've seen this now.
So
All
my
right.
head's a little bent out of spit.
All right, so she is Sissel, and he is William. And William, once again, taking the sole responsibility to be our youthful intern position. Jonathan, I think, is going to return. There's even somebody kind of teased the idea that he might make a cameo during the show today. I don't know. You think is that the case? He might show up.
Possibly. I think it's if he can get his car over here. He has a class at 3:00.
If he gets his car, sounds like he's pushing it or something.
I mean, he'll tell you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So and Diane Xavier behind the glass. They're in the yellow and the purple and the black. How you doing, Diane? And William, what was it about this topic that kind of interested you? And you suggested it last week.
I think it's probably future events have always just kind of been that interesting factor for me. Like, I mean, I like political science a little bit more probably, but this topic would come as a close second. It's just, I've always been enthused about what's going to happen in the future. Like, not thinking about it too much, but thinking about those events and how interesting it's going to be and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think one of the things about kind of the end times is that it's universally discussed. You don't have to be a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew or a pagan or an atheist. I think everybody in some way has some theory. Because and that brings up a question. Why does everybody kind of think that things are going to come to an end? I think I have my own answer. Why do we just inherently think this isn't, and the world as we know it now is not going to just kind of go on infinitely? Yeah. Why do you think that is?
That's a good question.
Because most things end.
Yeah.
I think, we end.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Because everything has like an expiration.
Yeah, it makes logical sense that if we come to an end, then the earth probably will too, in some form or another.
Yeah. So even people who
Victor says, "'Cause death."
Yeah, right.
Like,
Well,
hey.
that's kind of what you're getting at as well. Yeah, because we see this cycle like nothing lasts forever. Everything comes to an end at some point. So it's logical to say, well, I remember even like a couple of years ago, people like during 2020 we had all this kind of, this is it. We're never going to be. Remember, people said that? We're never going to return to how it was before.
Yeah.
And even then, I was like, I don't know, because I think it's pretty much how it was
I think we're
before
back
now.
to normal.
Yeah, back to normal.
For the
It's
most
never
part.
going to be the same. I mean, I can't tell you how many people said that.
Yeah. So many.
Real quick, I want to just shout out to a couple people who are watching right now. Buddy and James are on Facebook, and Buddy likes my hat, by the way. I'm going to pretend it was towards
Which one?
I was going to pretend it's towards the green one, but I think it was for this one.
Highly unlikely.
And then, of course, we have Victor on YouTube, and probably some other people too. Feel free to say hi. We love your interaction.
All right. Thank you so much. Some early activity there. And so, we're going to talk about what would you say are the very traditional signs that the end is coming. You know, people. Well, I mean, Scripture talks about some of them, but what would have to happen other than the actual end? Or Jesus comes and says this is the end. But what kind of signs would you look for to say like, oh, this is getting a little weird?
Yeah, I think the Catholics and the Protestants I've heard have different views on this. The Catholic belief is that there'll be five signs, and the first one is the gospel has to be preached throughout the whole world, which some people, like my dad, would argue has already happened because the apostles did that after Christ ascended. So, and Catholicism has been spread to all the different countries, like everywhere.
Now, would your dad
everywhere.
say that he would have thought it happened even like 100 AD because the apostles went across the whole world, or only because of media and internet and that kind of thing?
I have a feeling he'd probably argue more around the time of the apostles, like 100 AD. Yeah, I think so. I don't remember all the signs, but I know that I believe it's the second or third one, which says there has to be an apostasy as well, a falling away from the faith, and then I think before the end, the church rises up and becomes great again, and then there's the Antichrist and then the tribulation.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Something like that.
And there are a lot of differences, like you say, between the Protestants and the Catholics with the rapture.
Yes,
and
left behind.
I never quite understood the whole millennialism thing, the 1,000-year reign, and
I
all
will
that.
say the rapture one does lend itself to some great practical jokes. I know some people who apparently had a friend who did believe in that, and they played a joke where they were sitting and studying, and then they went to go to the bathroom and came back, and everyone left their clothes behind, which is really terrible. But also,
because is it you don't want to be left behind?
yeah,
or
you don't want to be
You
left
don't,
behind because that means the people who are taken are going to heaven is the idea, and you're just left behind.
Yeah, and I know back in 2020 there were a lot of people that were talking about this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife was watching a guy by the name of Mark Mallet. He's a Canadian Catholic. He's also a singer, but he has this thing called Countdown to the Kingdom. And it's really fascinating. And a lot of people think, the Bible says nobody knows. Even Jesus said, he doesn't know the date. So how are we supposed to?
Yeah.
But Countdown to the Kingdom was looking at signs and things that were happening in 2020.
Yeah.
And Thomas is going to get at the same point here. He's going to, I won't give it away. But now on Catholic Drive Time this morning, and I know you guys set your alarm and overslept and didn't watch it again this morning.
I did actually oversleep past my alarm. So
but Joe puts me on the spot, and I'm going to ask you guys the same thing.
Oh, no.
Even though I kind of gave a non-answer, so don't feel like you have to. But he said, Dave, when do you think the end of the world is going to be?
Oh.
If you do you think it's going to be in your lifetime? Do you think it's going to be 1,000 years from now? Do you think it's going to be next Tuesday? Well, how would you answer that? If you were live on Catholic Drive Time talking to Joe McLean.
First of all, how old is the world?
Well, nobody even knows that for sure. I mean, some people say 6,000 years,
yeah,
right?
Some people say longer.
Yeah, some people say it's like 4.5 billion.
Yeah, so it's a little range there.
Yeah.
You're like roughly. You're like skip a few billion.
I don't know.
I would say. I have no idea what you said. I'm interested to know what you said, but I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the next 100 years.
Oh yeah, okay.
I wouldn't be
100 to
surprised
200
either.
years. That, however, I also wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be like, oh, if it be another 1,000 years or something.
Kind
like
of hedging your bets there.
I am,
huh?
but
Okay.
I would say that I wouldn't be too surprised just the way the society has gone and stuff like that it happened. However, it's kind of one of those things where we're kind of in this anti-Christian culture right now, but we also could have a massive revival.
That's
and then
true.
It could,
So I'm pretty sure that's supposed to happen before the end. So we'd have to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but don't you think if you went back 100 years or 200 years or 1,000 years, people are always saying that?
Yeah.
Like, this is such a horrible time,
It's
you know?
true.
That's the thing is that everyone's always like, oh, we've never had it worse. I'm like, I don't know. There's been some pretty rough times in history. There's been some very
like the Black Death. I heard people thought it was the end of the world then.
Even
they
just
thought about
World
it in the 1950s.
War II, depending on where you were living.
I know.
You
If you were in London in World War II, you
totally
might
think.
possibly, planes could go over and drop bombs on you.
Yeah.
We've never had that risk.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
exactly.
There have been a lot of times, even in more ancient times too, where things probably looked really gloom.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's interesting going back, and I've done this, you read like papal encyclicals from 100 years ago or 80 years ago, and the popes will often lament the times that they're living in. And you think, wow, that's before, Hollywood and the internet and the it's all the stuff that we think is so horrible right now, but it's always been that bad.
Yeah.
It's like that Billy Joel song, "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Yeah, exactly. It's been around forever.
Yeah.
It's been burning since the world's been turning.
Do you know that song?
I don't know.
He lists a bunch of things that have happened in the history.
Basically
Also-
saying, hey, we didn't cause this.
It's
been
been going on for a
it's
long,
been going
long
on
time.
forever. Yeah.
And Victor guessed around 100 or so years as well was his thought.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Isaac Newton said it was going to end in 2060, and he was one of the smartest mathematicians,
Oh, really?
scientists. Yeah, you not heard it?
Yeah.
2060.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's-
I get-
he said that.
Hold on, I got
Wow.
things to do.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research. I did it last year, and yeah, he said that his prediction was the world would end in 2060, and he compared it to the way he got to that number is he went back to I believe it was the book of Daniel and Revelation, and he found the number 1260 because those books reference it, and then he added it to 800, which is when the Pope crowned the Holy Roman Emperor. I guess it was Charlemagne, around the year 800, 799. And so we added that number to that number, and he got to 2060, and that's how. I'm not sure.
Sounds a little
why-
simplistic, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm not sure how he came up with those numbers, but he thinks it's 2060.
But he was smart enough to pick a date after he was dead.
Yes,
so that,
exactly.
like the guy, I talked about this on Catholic Drive Time this morning, but I think Diane may remember, but you two, I think, are too young for this. There was a Protestant guy, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, I don't know how long ago, that he predicted a very, very specific day, September 3rd, 1993 or something like that. And the whole world kind of got into it, and it became a thing, and people were throwing end of the world parties, and some people were being more mocking of it, but everybody knew about it, and everybody was talking about it. If you at the office, you'd say, "Oh wow, this next Tuesday's the day," And needless to say, it came and went.
Yeah,
right?
YouTube videos. I mean,
2012, we were also supposed to. weren't we
yeah,
supposed to?
I believe the ancient, the Maya predicted it would end in 2012.
Because their calendar stopped, but they also could have just gotten bored and done making the calendar. They were just like, I'm done. I've been doing this for too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone thought that, or that it was supposed to like start over or something like
Yeah.
that. But everyone was like, oh, that's the sign. I mean, movies were made about it and everything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was some mind thing.
I know a lot of my friends did she did Y2K. Yeah, a lot of people just did it for the excuse to have a party, I think.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like,
let's go wild.
Like
It's the last big
Cinco de
hurrah.
Mayo, which no one I think really even knows what it is. I mean, because even people in Mexico are like, "What, Cinco de Mayo?" They don't even know what that is. It's not like a thing, But St. Patrick's Day and that kind of thing. All right, so let's see, William, you're doing the slideshow, right?
Yes.
Okay, we got a picture here of our hero, St. Thomas Aquinas. Of course, the show is based on his teachings, and he would say, focus on God, focus on the Eucharist, and he's just the instrument that's bringing us this stuff. All right, here's the next picture, and these are some of the things, if you see this, that I think a lot of people look at, like earthquakes. Do you see this image here? Okay, earthquakes, war, if there's all these wars, but then again, there's always been wars, right?
Yeah.
Famine. How about the 3 days of darkness? Have you guys heard of this one?
I have heard of it.
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Marshall's done videos on it, and yeah, I mean, it's private revelation, so you don't have to believe private revelation. But I mean, I don't know where my opinion would be on this. I kind of want to say, yeah, it probably happened sometime before. I think it kind of makes sense that it happened before the end times, but I don't know.
Yeah. And Thomas is also going to talk about the angels. That's something I really lament, that I don't think people generally talk about the angels enough and what role they have in salvation history. Like, for example, did you all know that, according to Aquinas, and I think according to all the doctors, the angels gave the Old Testament law to the prophets, and they were the ones that delivered, because
Interesting.
Jesus brought the new covenant, right? So you had God incarnate, so you no longer really needed the angels. But before Jesus was there, who was responsible for bringing it? Who was the mediator? And the church fathers would say it was the angels.
Yeah, it makes sense that it'd be the angels.
Yeah.
I can see how that makes
Few
sense.
people know that. And so Thomas So okay. So the next slide? There's only one question in the Summa. Okay, Summa has about 631 questions.
I thought you were going to say there's only one question overall in the Summa. And I was
no,
like, whoa.
yeah, one
I don't
big
think that's
one.
right,
Yeah.
Dave.
So one question that has to do with the end times. Okay, so it says whether any signs will precede the Lord's coming to judgment. Okay, so that's kind of the basic question. There's 3 articles, so he's only going to ask 3 basic questions having to do with signs of the end times.
So, real quick, can I just clarify? When we're talking about the signs of the end times, we're talking about the things leading up to the actual end time.
Yeah,
Right.
judgment.
Yeah, and leading up to the judgment. Okay, got it. And not actually what will happen at the judgment, just like what'll.
Yeah, the things in the temporal world
That we can,
that
like,
will
start seeing.
happen in order to say, okay, I
Gotcha.
think the end is coming, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
And so Thomas bases it on this scripture verse here. He says, "It is written, there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars." So I think that's the scriptural evidence that maybe these days of darkness are possible.
I feel like it might.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's this passage, but Jimmy Akin has an. Do you know Jimmy
Yeah,
Akin?
of Oh, yeah,
of
theologian.
course. Yeah.
He has an opinion which says like that the sun, moon, stars, all of it. It's not going to really darken. It's not going to like literally fall down on us. He kind of thinks maybe it's like a symbolic sign of like it's going to feel like that because of maybe government oppression
Oh,
or
so you mean it
economic
won't necessarily
problems.
be physically dark? Could be
Yeah.
More, okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
he argues it might be symbolic, like political
metaphorically
leader. It's going to
dark,
feel.
or-
It's
yeah.
going to really
but
feel like
to an
it.
extent,
but-
though, it would be interesting. It almost would make more sense for it to not be, it would be very physically dark kind of idea, because there are a lot of these things we could contest, being like, oh, is that a sign, or is that just how we're just going through a rough patch sort of thing? If there was like
Yeah.
actual 3 days of darkness, that'd be
Yeah.
pretty like, okay.
yeah, it's coming.
But
Yeah.
it's also the thing where that would be such an act of mercy from God, because people would be freaking out.
Yes. Oh,
and
yeah.
when people freak out, they tend to turn to God. So you
Yes,
can
that's
imagine
true.
somebody
Yeah.
living a horrible life, and you also won't be able to do that much like bad stuff when
Yeah.
it's like completely dark.
Yeah,
You know,
and-
you're like bumping
Yeah.
into walls and stuff. I mean,
That's why they call it the illumination of conscience. That's the other name for
Yeah.
the 3 days of
Right.
darkness.
yeah, boy,
Yeah.
William, I'm impressed, man. You do doing
He's
your
been
I've been
waiting for this
studying.
topic his whole
Yeah,
I've been
I know.
researching, like,
He's lived for this moment. I mean, he is like, man, I am going to just get on there and.
He has lived to talk about the end.
All right, so interesting thing. I'm just going to go through these 3 articles real quickly. The first one is pretty fascinating because, okay, the next picture, isn't that a cool picture? Like the end of the world, like things coming down from, you know, that,
Like, you're like, interesting.
that's what happens if you go on Canva and you search for a photo of the end of the world. This is what Canva thinks the end of the world is going to be like.
Oh gosh!
all this
you
stuff
notice
just-
how with the picture I used and everyone who got the email, because I didn't have a good picture of the end of
Yeah,
the
pretty
world.
lame.
Hey, I just said the end in like
It was like
tiles.
Scrabble pieces or something, wasn't it? Or,
It was subtle.
Yeah.
Or is it even more like, because it's so subtle, it's scarier?
yeah, I know. I was horrified. Okay, so the first article, whether any signs will precede the Lord's coming to judgment. So Thomas says yes, because he goes back to this Bible passage that says clearly, you know, there will be something having to do with the sun and the moon and the stars, right? So then in his sed contra, he says, well, St. Peter Damian quoted St. Jerome as saying there were 15 signs that the world was going to come to an end. Okay, so keep in mind that Thomas is including these in the Summa. Okay, so just kind of keep that in the back of your head. Okay, so I'm going to real quickly go through these. We can put them up on the screen. This is what St. Jerome said were signs, okay, that the end was going to come. And if you're out there watching and...
Can you remember what time St. Jerome was around?
He would have been early, like like 4th century maybe, like around
Wasn't it
time.
400s or something like that?
We need
I don't remember.
Hold on.
somebody out there do a check on
I am
on
checking the
Google.
interwebs.
All
It
right.
was born circa 347.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was about
That's
Good job,
close
guys.
enough.
Yeah, okay.
Congratulations,
All right.
everyone.
All right. So he says all the seas will rise 15 cubits above the mountains. That's
Wow,
high
that's
water.
amazing. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
saying something.
15 cubits above the mountains.
Yeah.
Oh, cubits are, and they're pretty big, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, if they're above the mountains, I mean, even,
Well, yeah.
even if it was an inch, it'd be.
It would be a lot. That's high.
Yeah,
He was talking about
cubit. I'm not sure. What's a cubit?
I like how
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
sign.
Yeah.
Aren't we all dead?
I know.
the first sign.
Well,
Aren't
no,
we
you
like
got,
washed
you got a
out?
boat.
I don't just have a boat, Dave.
Well, fine. Have a friend that has a boat. Okay, then all the waters will be plunged into the depths. so that scarcely will they be visible.
Wait,
I
so
don't-
we're talking about we're going from extremes here? Is
yeah,
that what's happening?
were they way up high and then
And
way
then
down
they-
low? It's kind of
Yeah.
like being at
So the boat won't help me then.
like being in the wave pool at
Yeah.
Great Wolf Lodge or something like that. Up and down.
Yeah.
Okay, they will be restored to their previous condition. Okay, so now you're still alive, by the way, Sissel. Okay,
I am,
somehow
okay.
you
I found a
survived
boat
this.
and
Okay.
I'm alive.
Okay, now these next two kind of crack me up a little bit. All the great fishes and other things that move in the waters will gather together, raising their heads above the sea, roar at one another contentiously. I mean, all these little like bass and I mean,
That's weird to imagine.
I know. If I saw that, I'd be like, man, I got to get to confession.
Fishes are roaring.
Fish, yeah, it's like fish. I mean, they're like roaring at each other.
Like a lion, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that would scare me alone.
yeah,
Forget the water rising.
and they
forget
all
the-
come together. I mean, they're
They're
not
like
like
one giant fish congregation.
roaring at each other.
You're like, think about the like little tiny fish. Like you
Yeah, roaring at the whale. Although a whale isn't a fish. Okay, so all the birds in the air will gather together in the fields, wailing at one another with neither bite nor sup.
I'm good. I'm fine.
All right, so we got the fish roaring at each other. The birds are not very happy with each other either. Okay,
I'm
so,
actually pretty scared of birds. So,
so
I'd be
basically,
not-
you have discord. You've got chaos. You've got the animal world just kind of acting weird. You
they're
know.
acting as one though.
Yeah,
Most organized they've ever been.
Yeah. Rivers of fire will arise towards the firmament, rushing together from the west to the east. Okay, that'd be kind of scary. Rivers of fire. All right, we go on. All the stars, both planets and fixed stars, will throw out fiery tails like comets. That's kind of like what that picture was.
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
the fiery comets coming to Earth. There will be
Yeah.
a great earthquake, and all animals will be laid low. I guess,
What does
except
that mean?
except for the fish.
Wait, question: is this a step-by-step process, or is this all happening at once?
No, oh no, this was day after day.
Got it.
What
Oh,
what I took out of this was that this is day 3, day 4, day 5. So each day you're gonna have the one day of the fish growling at each other, and then you're gonna have.
And these are literal 24-hour days, or do we not know?
That I don't know.
That gets a little.
Yeah. And just a little hint: Aquinas is in the corpus of this article is going to basically say, I don't think so. So I mean, seriously.
So
it's
he's
good.
going to disagree with St. Jerome.
Well, he's going to
basically.
say that they're not really credible.
Okay.
You know, but why did he include him in the Summa? I
Yeah.
guess, you know? Okay. All the plants will be bedewed, as it were, with blood. Okay, that would be creepy. Okay.
Yeah.
All stones, little and great, will be divided into 4 parts, dashing against one another. All hills and mountains and buildings will be reduced to dust.
Oh. Okay. Bye, house.
Yeah. All mountains and buildings. Yeah, your house is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess the end of mortgage payments. All animals will come from forest and mountain to the fields, roaring and tasting of nothing.
Wait.
I don't get
Tasting of
that.
nothing? Like if we eat them, they don't taste of
Yeah,
anything?
maybe so.
Bacon
but,
won't taste like bacon?
Oh man.
I
It's
could
n-
stand all the rest of it, but then
it would be
that would be the last straw.
It wouldn't be even worth living. All graves from east to west will open to allow the bodies to rise again. Now this is when we're talking like zombie stuff. The whole zombie thing is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Do y'all know?
Oh, yeah.
The zombie apocalypse?
Yeah.
That thing? Yeah.
What's a zombie?
Oh wait, so he's actually saying that zombies would happen?
Okay, all graves from east to west will open to allow the bodies to rise again. Well, that's kind of scriptural that bodies will rise, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's what it says in the Gospels. That
Yeah.
at the end of time.
That's true, yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think people get confused, and actually, did I mention this last week? I actually mentioned this in my book about how when you take certain parts of human nature away, it becomes creepy. We didn't talk about this. Okay,
Yeah, I don't think
so like the zombies are. Oh gosh, how would you describe a zombie? It's like a body that's moving but without a soul, right?
Yeah.
So it's
I guess, yeah.
yeah. So it doesn't have a soul, but it's still like
And it looks
they eat
creepy.
brains.
Yes.
yeah. So you take something away from it that's integral to human nature, and all of a sudden it becomes really kind of freakish. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
right? So then all men will leave their abode, which didn't exist because it already got destroyed, right? Neither understanding nor speaking, but rushing hither and thither like madmen.
Yeah.
You guys have like no comment on that.
Wait,
no
wait,
comment
wait.
on men rushing
Well,
hither,
hey, hang
hither
on,
and thither
hang
like
on,
madmen.
hang on. First off, their abode is dead.
I know.
We
I
have
know.
no abode.
I know, but that's you That's why you're running around like madmen.
Okay.
But everybody's just running around like crazy.
I like that that's not until day 14. I think I would have been doing that on day 1, but okay.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about those fish growling at each other by this time, you know?
I have a question once we're finished going over these, but continue.
Okay, so looks like there's some activity.
Yes,
on,
Victor was saying on YouTube that zombies would be an inanimate being. He's like, I don't know.
But I don't know about that. Because it says inanimate would mean it doesn't. Animation means it moves, it has life. But how can it move around if it doesn't have life? How can something move if it doesn't have some kind of principle of life? I mean, that's the question. That's why they're creepy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Wait, do we finish all the ones that are all the things?
Not yet.
Okay.
Jeez.
We're going through the ringer here.
Okay, so we got men running around like madmen, crazy, and you got earthquakes, and I mean, this isn't a good 2-week period.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
We're not doing too hot.
Okay, and then as if this wasn't enough, all men will die and will rise again with those who died long before. Okay, so
at the end, after we run around like madmen, we're all gonna just drop dead.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't think. To be fair, I don't think that many people are gonna still be alive at this point.
And you got these like zombie things, but zombie would not be a Christian belief, right?
I don't think the idea was because zombies are like they go around and eat brains. Like it's.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the zombies.
Is that a thing with zombies? I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't watch zombie
right.
movies, but
interesting that they would want to eat brains.
Yeah.
Or like, why do vampires suck blood?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
right. A lot of it sounds like, I mean, not all of it, not like the last maybe 5 or 3, whatever, but most of these sound like part of the tribulation, natural disasters.
Yeah,
things like that.
right. Okay, so let me just read Thomas's a portion of his corpus, and it's kind of long, but it kind of gives a good answer for what he believes will be the signs in the end. He says, many signs will precede the advent of Christ when he shall come to judgment, in order that the hearts of men be brought to subjection to the coming judge, and be prepared for the judgment, being forewarned by those signs. Okay, so the signs are really a sign of mercy, right? Because God's saying, hey, listen.
Heads up.
Yeah.
Heads up. If you didn't notice when the whole world got covered in water.
When the fish were growling at each other.
Time to start thinking about your death.
Okay, but it is not easy to know what these signs may be, for the signs of which we read in the Gospels refer not only to Christ's coming to judgment, but also to the time of the sack of Jerusalem, which I think was 70 AD, and to the coming of Christ in ceaselessly visiting his church, so that perhaps if we consider them carefully, we shall find that none of them refers to the coming advent. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Because these signs that are mentioned in the gospel, such as wars, fears, and so forth, have been from the beginning of the human race, unless perhaps we say that at that time they will be more prevalent, although it is uncertain in what degree this increase will foretell the imminence of the advent. The signs mentioned by Jerome are not asserted by him. He merely says that he found them written in the annals of the Hebrews.
Oh, interesting.
And indeed, they contain very little likelihood.
Well, thank goodness. I wasn't sure if I could handle the fish screaming, like roaring. I was also going to say, like, in a circuit, okay, imagine that there is a lot of, like, very clear indications of the end times, like, whatever they may be, the wars, darkness, whatever it is. Obviously, a lot of people are probably going to die during that period because it's probably going to be pretty intense, right?
Like heart attacks and stuff.
Well, that's just alone, or if there's tons of wars. I mean, all sorts of things happening. I'm just kind of curious as to, like, what your mindset is supposed to be during that time.
What are you supposed to be doing? Like,
what is it just supposed to be like? Drop to your knees and, pray, or are you struggling to stay alive and save people? Like, or are you just kind of like, this is it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was just a random thought I had. Okay, imagining if, like, what St. Jerome, like, wrote about is real. Like, okay, massive, flood, water everywhere. Okay, you survived that. Great. Are you just trying to survive until you can drop dead on the last day?
I know.
And just praise God the whole time?
And what's the advantage of surviving?
Right, because you're just going to die eventually.
Because
but also, you can't be
anyways.
suicidal.
Yeah.
Because that would kind of defeat the whole purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
crazy. I have a
crazy.
question from Victor. He says, is there a private revelation that says, like, during these, like, signs, like, of the end times, that those alive will envy the dead? So, like, in these, kind of like what I was just saying about, like, when you're it's like probably gonna be pretty dang terrifying.
Yeah, I've heard that. I think that's
they'll wish they were dead.
Yes,
because it would be so bad.
Yeah,
and well, it's kind of like the people left behind in the fictitious rapture. they envy those who were taken. They don't know where they were taken, but the rapture says they're like taken up into the sky or something, right? And so those left behind are like, dang, I wish I'd been taken, right? So maybe it'd be that same kind of thought, but you know, but not the rapture. Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks, Victor. Good question. I have a lot of activity on the question.
There's an interesting discussion going on, but it doesn't really have to do with
totally unrelated to this.
Exactly.
All right. Well, these things happen. Okay. So we're glad you're here. Let's see. Did you see James on Facebook? Did you see his? Are those?
That's
is that
the conversation.
That's conversation. Okay, outside the church. Okay. So the next slide says whether towards this is the second article of question 73. Whether towards the time of the judgment, the sun and the moon will be darkened in very truth.
Oh.
Okay, so
kind
now,
of like what we're talking about.
now he's saying basically in modern, kind of language, will there be the 3 days of darkness?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I feel like it could be a reference to that. This question.
Yeah, but he
Makes
won't.
sense.
Okay, so here's what he says. Next slide. If we speak of the sun and moon in respect of the very moment of Christ's coming, it is not credible that they will be darkened through being bereft of their light, since when Christ comes and the saints rise again, the whole world will be renewed. Okay, so when Christ comes, it won't be dark. He's the light of the world, and so it's going to be lit. If, however, we speak of them in respect of the time immediately preceding the judgment, it is possible that the divine power. By the divine power, the sun, moon, and other luminaries of the heavens will be darkened, either at various times or all together, in order to inspire men with fear. So, I mean, that's, I mean, he didn't say 3 days, but that's basically the 3 days of darkness, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about like maybe in past times when people didn't know when another eclipse was going to happen. And they like thought that. I was it's here. And then like an hour later, oh, we're fine.
Have y'all experienced an eclipse?
I did once, yeah, long time ago.
Yeah, I've always found them a little bit lame because it's never like it gets real dark. It might.
You got to be like in the right place, I think, to actually have it
Yeah.
experience really well. Yeah,
I think when it did happen here, like it didn't get dark, but other places like Kansas.
You have to have the special glasses to like see even the depth of it.
Yeah.
I was driving to my first college class that day when we had it like 5 or 6 years ago.
Did you have like the little box where you're looking at the reflection?
Oh,
You're
I've
not
seen
supposed
this.
to be like, hey, look.
Yeah.
So,
It's not helpful.
all right. So the third and final article that we'll talk about with this question is.
Wait, I have an announcement. We have 10 people on YouTube, Dave.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Dave-
nobody leave.
Dave has always had a desire to have 10 people.
Okay,
There
all
you
right.
go.
Okay, well, good.
Go
Now
on.
that you say that, people are going to start
Everyone's like,
dropping off.
oh, well,
Okay.
we're just going to ruin his dream right
No,
now.
I did say before the show started, it'd be kind of cool to get to double digits,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So, okay. Well,
hey,
and,
there you
and this
go.
is an interesting topic.
Oh, 9
Yeah.
people.
Don't keep giving me a play-by-play,
Sorry.
okay? If it gets to 100, then let me know, okay?
We're happy for everyone who's
All right,
here.
so let me show you this slide here, and don't look ahead, okay? So you guys have the slideshow, but don't look ahead, okay? For the sake of our dear listener, dear viewers, okay. When Thomas says whether the virtues of heaven will be moved when our Lord shall come, what do you think he means by that? The virtues of heaven.
No
What?
earthly idea.
Thank you. Okay, let me throw that out to our 9 or 10 people who are on our. So we got several on the other platforms
Yes,
as well.
absolutely.
What do you think? And kind of keep an eye on this one. Tell me what people say. Because any guess, William? Well, what does he mean by the virtues of heaven? Okay.
Yeah,
and
I
it
have no
kind of
idea.
goes by about with something I just said a moment ago that I wish people would talk about more often. Do you remember that comment?
Angels, and that's what
Oh, yeah.
Victor. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, did Victor get
just
it?
wrote the 9 choirs of angels.
Oh man, yeah,
Good job.
exactly. And so, so the first article was what are the signs? The second article is basically the sun and the moon and the stars. They're going to be affected. And then he goes on to like, what will the angels' role be in all this? Okay. And I'm not showing the whole thing because he really kind of gets into the weeds of it. And there's a picture of an angel, by the way. Doesn't that look like the angel that would be involved to the end of the world? That one there, that'd be like, I don't know, like wearing a cloud, basically. But what he spends a lot of time saying, like, because there isn't total agreement on the order of the hierarchies. I think everybody agrees that it's seraphim, then cherubim, and then I think it's, gosh, I forget what the third one is, but Then there's a middle grouping of 3, and then the lowest one, the very lowest, are angels and then archangels. But exactly how the powers and the thrones and the dominations and the virtues are, there isn't total agreement among the doctors of the church, right?
Yeah.
So he spends a lot of time talking about, Chrysostom says this and Damascene says this and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But then ultimately, he comes down to this, the last thing here, and he says the proper office of the virtues, and he's talking about a particular category of angels. Okay, one of the types of angels is called the virtues, is seemingly to move the heavenly bodies, which are the cause of what happens in nature here below. Okay, so there's a type of angel whose job is to move the planets, move the moon, move the stars.
So
Did
they've
you
been
know
waiting
that?
for the end times just for this moment to be able to do their job.
Well, no, they're moving now.
They moved like so they're moving like
Yeah, they're doing it now.
so they're moving Earth around the sun.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I mean, because what else? I mean, is there a scientific explanation of? I mean, what would science say? What's moving it? Why does the Earth move and not remain still? I mean it's because obviously something had to get it moved in the first place.
Yeah.
That would be the first mover proof.
Right.
But what? I mean, it's somebody out there. Victor, you seem to know pretty much everything.
Yeah, he's been commenting about.
Where's Kent Loney when you need him? Kent knows everything
That's
about
true.
everything.
He does.
You know?
Even if he doesn't, he'll make something up and really confidently and just like.
Okay, so yeah, but the point is that the traditional teaching on angels is that every class of angels has some responsibility. Some angels look over whole countries.
Yeah.
The guardian angels look over each of us. I heard on the
Right.
radio the other day. Did you know this? That I guess a priest has 2 guardian angels.
I think I have heard
did
that
hear
before.
that.
Yes.
Did you hear that on the
I
radio?
have heard that, and that's. I don't
Yeah.
think I heard it somewhere at some point in time, but I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
a second one.
Yeah,
I
you're
want,
like-
I want my guardian angel to have a friend.
Right.
know?
You're also like my guardian angel needs double help.
Yeah, right. So then he says, and again, the very name denotes this, since they are called the virtues of heaven. So by virtues of heaven, he's referring to angels. Accordingly, they will be moved then because they will no more produce their effect by ceasing to move the heavenly bodies. Okay, so at the end of time, the heavenly bodies will cease to move. Okay, because it's over.
Right.
Okay, the curtains came, it's done. And now listen to this. Even as the angels who are appointed to watch over men will no longer fulfill the office of guardians. So did you know that when the end of time comes, your guardian angel is
Yeah.
like, they're checked out. They're done.
I mean, that happens when you die yourself too. I'm pretty sure. Like,
Yeah, your own personal death.
You ever get to
Right.
say like "Hey" again? Like if you see him in heaven, just like
Hey again.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
I know when I die, I want a glamorous exit. I want the angels from heaven to come down to earth and lift me to heaven. Now, there's a case where this happened. I think it's Saint Margaret of Cortona. Have you heard of her?
No, I haven't.
She's just a saint, and she didn't live the perfect life. She was unchaste in many ways, but in the end, she regretted the way she lived and told God, I will be homeless. I'm going to live on the ground. I'm going to live outside in the wood, in the, what do you call it, woods and stuff. And she made her face dirty and stuff. And God said, no, I forgive you. And he had the angels come and prepare a robe for her. And
that's what
everything.
you want when you die, right?
Yes, I want the
That's a small
angels.
request. Yeah.
So
I have a
okay.
question about the guardian angel bit. As Victor's asking, will your guardian angel be standing next to you at your particular judgment?
Yeah.
question.
Well, can the guardian angel stand? I know what he
Float
means.
next to.
Did you know angels are in a place?
In a
Yeah, they're like in a particular place because otherwise they'd be infinite, right?
Right,
So
yeah,
like
that makes
a
sense.
guardian angel, if he's here, cannot be here.
Right, right, yeah.
Unless he's really big, he can be both places. Right. But he can't be big because he's not dimensive.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, but anyways, okay, I'm being flippant, but okay, is your angel standing next to you at judgment? I would think so, but I don't
so.
know if that's teaching or not officially.
I've never heard that, but I can see how it makes sense.
Yeah.
When they're listing off your various sins, the guardian angel's like, I tried, man.
Yeah.
Like, remember when I told you that wasn't a good idea? Like, I tried to get you-
Yeah.
was
Well,
like-
I've told my kids before. I was like, you're not. I mean, like William, you could die tomorrow, right? Just because you're young doesn't mean you're guaranteed you're going to live to be
you get
80.
into
I
an
think
accident,
a lot of young people just think they're going to live forever. But
Yeah.
I've told my kids, I said, well, you know, when I stand before God, I'm not going to have him say, why didn't you tell your kids that they could die, and if they die in a state of mortal sin, they go to hell, right? And so I said, I'm telling you this, okay? So now I've cleared myself in front of God. And,
Yvonne on YouTube, who I think is one of our newer viewers, said, I heard that your guardian angel helps you in purgatory. Have you heard about that, Dave, before?
Because this is all kind of new to me. I mean, but how do they help you though? Because you're released from purgatory through time and also through the prayers and suffrages of the people on earth, right? Can an angel sacrifice, or I don't know. But Yvonne, I don't know. I just claim ignorance on that one. But it's an interesting point for sure. Okay. So
a buddy asked a question a little while ago that I wanted to get in at some point, but he says, does anyone think that anything significant will happen under the 2,000-year anniversary of the crucifixion of our Lord?
And
that would be what?
Oh, 2033.
Yeah, so not too long from now. Another 10 years or so,
yeah.
11 years.
And there's always going to be the people that was like, he didn't die in 0. He wasn't born in 0.
That's true. We could have some disagreements on
but
4.
I think Buddy's basically saying when 2033 comes along, is there going to be anything big? Yeah.
Jesus Christ returns.
That'd be pretty big.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. There's some good comments here. And all right. So that is pretty much all that Thomas addresses in that particular question. Yeah. The very next question of the Summa, and I'm thinking, and William, you tell me what you think about this. There is a question which has actually about 10 articles, and it's about the Great Conflagration. Do you know what a conflagration is?
No idea.
Okay. I wonder if anybody out there knows what
All I'm picturing, as soon as I'm picturing flags because it's conflagration.
Yeah, a conflagration is a big fire. And so there's something at the end of the world that's going to involve like a big, huge fire.
I mean, St. Paul, I believe, says just like the Lord sent the flood at the beginning, he's going to send fire at the end. So he's not going to destroy the earth with water, but he's going to do it with fire at the end.
Because he said, I will never destroy the earth by water.
That's goes counter what St. Jerome wrote about, though. If you think about it, I know the earth wasn't destroyed, but all the mountains are covered by water. That's a flood.
But is it happening around the whole world or just a particular area?
Yeah,
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, because it would have contradicted what God
the covenant.
said.
Yeah.
But then it came down, and so maybe
But so did the ones with Noah. The rains came down and the floods came. You never heard that song?
Somebody went to VBS.
A lot of VBSs actually.
Yeah, lots of VBS. We kind of stole that from the Protestants, didn't we? The Catholics.
We did, and we call it different things.
I remember the first VBS I ever went to was at a Protestant church. Yeah, because I think back then, because I'm a lot older than you guys, there wasn't any Catholic VBS, but there is now.
Yvonne is saying, commenting, the angels will gather the goats and throw them into the fire. Is that something that's in the?
Do you guys want to cover the conflagration next
week?
I think we should.
Yeah, might as well. Just keep going.
I think there's an eschatological, passion among the people.
Yeah, and I know we didn't talk too much about the Antichrist or anything like that, but there's one of the church's teachings is that there'll be a human man who will be fully possessed by Satan, who will rule for 7 years and will do a lot of the stuff that it's going to be parallel to like the Roman Empire, and he's going to persecute Christians and deceive the Jews into thinking that he is Christ. And then at the end, after the tribulation and everything, it says in Revelation 16, I believe, there's going to be the bowls of judgment where Christ is going to bring about, I guess, kind of like the stuff that happened in Egypt, like the 10 plagues. He's going to bring bad stuff upon the evil people, and then there's going to be the Battle of Armageddon and all that stuff, and then he will come, kill the Antichrist, and then throw him and all the other evil people into the fire. That's the research I've done on what the church teaches about this subject.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah. Question 74, on the fire of the final conflagration. Whether the world is to be cleansed, whether the cleansing of the world will be affected by fire, whether the fire whereby the world will be cleansed will be the same species with elemental fire, so it will be the same as like if you light a match, whether that fire will cleanse also the higher heavens, whether that fire will consume the other elements. So interesting. Whether the fire will engulf the wicked. Okay.
Sounds
so
like
I
the flood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh?
So-
Makes sense to
It
me.
makes sense. Yeah.
Don't
All
be
right.
wicked.
Okay,
Yeah.
so don't be
It's
wicked.
true.
That'd be a bad way to go. Gosh,
Yeah.
get caught on fire, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's about all that we have in this offering, which only means one thing. It means Sissel gets to do her transition.
Oh, it's that time of the show where we give Dave Suma to think about, and he gives it right back, and we might have a special guest.
Oh, is he coming?
No.
Oh, you're for your
My
your
special
sister.
guest.
Okay, are they coming in?
I think so.
Okay,
Hold
they,
on.
they probably have to share a mic.
Well, or
Yeah.
just squeeze by and stand over there.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. So
Anyhow,
are they? Is there going to be like some grand entrance? or-
I don't know. Maybe. Well,
Are they
continue
gonna be on-
talking
they gonna be on-
as you were.
Are they going to be on camera?
Hello. You want to go over to this microphone over here?
maybe. Oh, okay. So they get on this microphone,
There we go.
and but they're not on camera, right?
Just come in. Here you
Okay.
go. You can come into camera. There you go. Now she's on camera.
Okay.
Hello.
Do you want to introduce her?
Do you want to pull it up nice and close? This is my sister Tova. She happens
really?
to stop.
I'm joking. I know who Tova is.
Oh, he's like, no, really? I'm like, I just everyone watching. I didn't like just pull this out on Dave. Some random person off the street.
Yeah.
My sister happened to be in today, and so we were thinking it'd be fun to get her because Jonathan's not here. So we have Tova contribute to trivia and more people to compete.
Okay.
Has it been a good day, Tova?
Yes, it's been a very good day.
Anything in particular other than just okay?
Nothing in particular.
No,
I
just-
accepted a job. So,
Yeah,
and I
you
got
gotta-
offered a job and accepted it. I was very,
Yeah, with
very
a Catholic
happy,
Charities
so,
organization. So
yes.
Yeah, that's
Very
cool.
excited.
Yeah, I was
Very,
thinking
very
kind of
excited.
selfishly, like, oh, now we got somebody at Catholic Charities, you know, because
can-
everything is about our job in radio,
Of course.
really, ultimately, right?
Of course, of course.
Okay, so but congratulations, that's really
Thank
exciting.
you,
This is kind of like
thank
an
you.
ideal job for you,
It
huh?
is. It really is. I'm very excited. So.
And all right, very good.
So we Tova does watch Back to the Father when she's not working. So she does, I think, know how this works, right? How trivia
Yes.
works.
Does this mean we just lost one of our viewers because now she is working?
Yes, we are now down to 9
Why do you
viewers.
keep getting these jobs? Come on, quit getting jobs. Remember we lost Buddy because he got a job?
Yeah, well, Buddy's back today, though.
Yeah, he's back to the
He's back to the father. Yeah. So, all right. I'm curious if William has trivia.
Okay.
I didn't ask you beforehand.
I do. Yes.
Oh, yeah. William always has one
Always have
question.
one
I
question,
I
yeah.
asked him earlier, I said, William, do you have trivia? And he's like, I got it in my mind, but I haven't quite formulated it. And I was like, dude, man, you only got one question. Come on. All right. So so is this kind of just whoever knows it answer first? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Tova,
All right.
you're in, okay?
All right. So it's a little bit of a trick question, but we'll see how it plays out. So, who exactly is the Antichrist? Who is it?
I've heard a lot of funny answers to that.
Who is it? Well, we don't know.
That's right. You got it right. But
Take that, Anderson sisters. Yeah.
Come on,
So
we're bringing
actually
down the team.
that actually leads to my second question.
Oh, he has a
follow-
second question.
Wait a
follow-up.
second.
Trick.
Yeah, since you got it
Wow.
right, follow-up question.
Oh, only
Okay.
he's allowed to compete for this one, or can we still compete for this
You
one?
can still compete.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So, what are the Antichrist's characteristics? Or
Being bad.
Denies Jesus.
that's one of them. Yeah.
Okay. Being bad.
Well, yes, obviously.
Okay, Jesus.
Yeah, he denies that he's the Son of God. Denies that Jesus is the Son of God. Is that one?
I believe that, and he claims that he is.
And
yes.
isn't there like he comes from a certain part of the world or something?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
Can you guess
Oh,
where?
really? Which part of the world?
Well,
Yeah.
I
Yes.
yeah,
Australia.
No. No.
Don't hate on
I'm
Australia.
not trying to hate on
No, I thought it was
Australia.
like the Middle East.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay,
You
the
got it
Middle
right.
East is
right.
what I did think initially,
And
but
that's why
Yeah.
some people have said, "Oh, it must be a Jewish person."
Yeah,
or
it-
something like
yeah,
that.
it's said to be a
Oh,
Jewish
Yvonne,
person.
I said tribe
Yeah.
of Dan. Anything about that? Is that?
Yeah.
I don't know about the tribe of Dan, but yeah, Jewish of some sort, or at least someone that the Jews will.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then Victor is saying, divides the multitude and makes himself God, and born of a nun. Have you heard of those?
Born of a nun. I've never heard of that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
I
kind
know
of-
that
weird.
I've heard that his parents are supposed to teach him in the ways of like witchcraft, and then the devil will possess him, as it says in Revelation 13, like the dragon comes upon the beast. But I didn't know it was a nun, so
And
that's interesting.
Is it definitely a male?
It I'm pretty
Ooh,
sure.
good question.
I'm pretty sure it's a male. I haven't heard otherwise, but I don't have to look into that.
Mhm,
But I think
yeah.
it's a male.
Well, you definitely came with your A game today, William.
Yeah, you
Boy,
bet I
you got it going on.
right,
Okay,
all
so
right.
now is the moment when Sissel and I determined whether or not
No, we got
came
the same
with
trivia.
same
We're a little
trivia.
worried we got the same
And,
trivia today.
And I brought two bags of trivia, so even if one of ours overlaps,
It's
you,
just okay.
so what is yours?
Mine was I found a list of 25 films about the end times.
Oh.
Okay, I did do
I
that,
knew
but I've got something else.
Okay, perfect. So then
Okay,
I'll
so
do mine.
I've actually got my list of all your.
Put the list
You want
down.
to see her
Can we
answers?
start guessing?
Now, to be fair, some of
Okay.
these, there's a lot of films that have to do with like end times of some sort. I try to find the list that seem the most actually about the world ending or after the world ending, like post-apocalyptic. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the word I was looking for. Kind of ones.
Yeah.
So this is a list of 25. You all may disagree like on some of them, or you may have other ones that aren't on this list. But we'll just see how many we can get.
Do you want people
okay?
to guess out there in social media
absolutely.
land? I was surprised how few of these I was actually familiar with.
Right, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you're not familiar with them, then that says something.
Then it just
right?
really says something.
Yeah.
Because
So
I just know everything.
Am I kind of like?
well,
in
Victor
L-
already guessed one.
Did you get it right?
Yeah.
Okay. 2012 is that a movie?
2012. Yeah.
Okay.
2012. Woo.
How about have you heard of the sci-fi movie Knowing?
Knowing. I don't have it on
Knowing.
this list, but I'm not going to say that it's not.
I feel like I can't say anything because I got the list here in front of me.
Put the list down.
Yeah, so if I go off memory, that's okay.
I guess so.
Okay.
All right. So,
Is there one called The Second Coming of Christ?
I did see that on one of the lists. It's not on this final list, but I'm going to say go for it. If
Okay,
that works.
cool.
These are mostly secular movies,
Mostly
right?
secular
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Most of the ones are.
Yeah, these aren't like
Yeah. Yeah, like
Christian
2012,
films.
it reminds me of like the Mayan tradition. They're a pagan religion, so
Yeah.
like, I don't know how credible that'd be. but, yeah.
The Day After Tomorrow is another one that Victor just got.
Okay. Now Victor,
Victor
no,
currently it's 2-0 or like
okay,
0-0-0.
how about Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead. Do you say Dawn of the Dead or Shaun of the Dead?
Dawn.
Shaun of the Dead is on here.
Well, that's a takeoff of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, okay,
right?
well then that count. I'll count it.
Dawn of the Dead was the zombie one, wasn't it?
I don't.
I told you I didn't watch zombie
Armageddon.
movies. Armageddon. I think there was one. Yep, you got it, Diane. Okay, Diane's
Is
doing well.
there? I don't know if this one is about. I guess it's not really about the end of the world, but it is kind of post-apocalyptic.
Mm-hmm.
A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It is not on this list now. That could be because this list came out before that movie
I
came
think
out.
we have
but I
different
think
lists.
we'll count. Yeah, we do.
Because it's
You have
on
a Quiet
mine.
Place is on. Okay, well then
Yeah.
I'll give you the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
2018, the Quiet Place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Tova, come on.
Maze Runner?
Oh.
Or any of those kind of.
I think those are
They're
too
kinda
like
dystopian,
dystopian,
but
so they're not
okay,
fully
okay, I
like
wasn't sure.
post-apocalyptic.
Okay.
I like it though.
Okay.
Okay. Victor said the Day of the Dead.
The Day of the Dead. Let me look.
I thought it was the Dawn of the Dead.
Uh,
How about Mad Max Fury
Yes,
Road?
that's
Okay,
one.
that's the Mel Gibson movie, right?
Yes.
So that was about the end times.
Yep.
Have you heard of that one?
What's it called?
Mad
Max.
Fury
I haven't
Road.
heard that one.
Very
No.
apocalyptic.
I would say most of the Mad Max ones have some sort of apocalyptic.
But speaking of Mel Gibson when he was an actor, what about Signs? Is that on there?
Signs. Ooh.
Wasn't that more about aliens?
No, it's
Or-
not.
It's not. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
not,
think
it's
it
not
does
on my
have
list anyway.
aliens.
It's not.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other last?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
You're looking at your list. You just have that off the top of your head, right?
I'm just trying to beat Victor.
Oh,
Because
a zombie movie.
Victor may be online. You realize that, okay?
Dave, I trust our viewers. Thank you very much.
Yes, okay.
Wait, any other ones? There's one that's pretty. Okay. Let me give a hint. One of them that's on my list is a Disney movie.
A Disney movie.
Oh, Wall-E.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yay, she's got
Yeah,
one.
2008, Wall-E.
Yep,
Yeah,
Wall-E.
yeah. One of them that surprised me
What?
is Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh, I
Have you-
didn't think of that as a. I have not seen it,
I've
but
heard
what
of
I
it.
know about the
Seen
film.
it, but that's interesting.
Okay.
I said Invasion of the Body Snatchers, right?
Yeah, you did
Yeah.
that. Okay, some of the ones I have: The Book of Eli, Zombieland, Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah.
Let's see what's the other ones. Deep Impact, World War Z, War of the Worlds. Did we say that? I feel like someone said that.
Oh no.
Did someone say War of the
Was that
I
was that a
didn't.
radio drama?
Waterworld? Is
Orson
one that Buddy
Welles?
said. It's not on my list, but let's see any other. There's a lot of them that I just didn't know. Interstellar was considered one because he's trying to get like the Earth has degraded
It
so
makes
much.
sense. Yeah.
This is the end.
This is the end.
Makes sense, right?
Clarissa Gonzalez says, "I Am Legend" with Will Smith.
Oh, Oh,
I've heard of that
yes,
one.
that's on my list.
Oh, it
It
is.
is. Good
All
job.
right. All right. Clarissa.
Go, Clarissa.
Have we heard from Clarissa before?
I've been around before, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then, this was an interesting one because I'm interested to know if y'all know this film, if you think this counts, and people watching too. The Day the Earth Stood Still. In
I've
my
heard of that
opinion,
one.
doesn't seem like an apocalyptic film. It's about an alien that comes to Earth like in the 1950s, I think, and for a couple hours or an hour, freezes everything. Like there's no engines work. People in elevators are stuck. All electricities go down, and talking about how much we rely on it. And they just wanted to show that. And I think the idea was being that they could come back and destroy it at any time. How vulnerable I think humanity was kind of the idea. I don't know if I consider that apocalyptic, but it was on this film.
Yeah. And interesting. Okay. Are there any others?
Hold on a second. I'm just writing back to a comment. The other ones are 28 Days Later, Geostorm, The Core. I think that was one where they go to the core of the Earth or something like that. I don't know, maybe. Seeking a Friend for the End of the World.
Is there one called Apocalypse Now?
That
one
is
of
a
them?
film, but it's not on this
It's on the
list.
list, okay.
You would think that
so.
that would be,
I just
yeah.
haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
I
And
cannot
it's like,
agree.
what qualifies
28
as an
Days
end of
Later?
the world movie?
Right.
That's the thing is I did find there were so many different lists that had a bunch of different
Yeah.
ones that I was like, I don't know if that counts.
Yeah.
Because a lot of films can be dystopian and things like the Hunger Games could be
Right,
the Hunger
right.
Games could be
Right, so-
considered.
Yeah.
Take Shelter?
Take Shelter.
Nope.
Okay.
But
so,
yeah, that's any other ones that I missed, Dave, that you have on your list? Contagion was another one. Sorry.
Children of Men, Deep Impact. Let's see. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Was that about the end of the world? The Planet of the Apes?
Like the
I don't know.
1960s
when they
movie?
come.
Well, yeah.
Apparently, there was a remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves in it, and apparently it's more apocalyptic in that
Yeah.
version. So that might have been the one that they were doing.
Okay.
Oh, and
okay.
Apocalypse Now is a Vietnam War movie. That's
Oh,
what I
okay.
didn't think it was about like the
Yeah, it
actual end of the
wasn't
world,
about the
but
end of the
it
world,
does
yeah.
sound like it would be.
Yeah.
Right. That
From the
name.
title.
All right. So if I may move on to mine.
No.
I did have obviously the movies, but I also have songs that are about.
I always did songs. I'm glad I
Okay,
didn't.
Yeah, so songs that are about the end of the world. So you guys out there, switch from movies to songs. I can't believe nothing's coming to your mind
As
yet.
the world caves
Wait,
in.
hold on. Radioactive.
and I have,
As the world
Radioactive
I
by
have
Imagine Dragons.
I have 10.
We just said two.
okay.
As the
I-
world caves in.
those aren't on my list.
Radioactive.
Radioactive by Imagine Dragons.
No.
Those are both songs
Yeah,
about the end of the
He's
world.
okay, all right.
Literally, the song goes as the world caves in, like as the world is falling
Oh
apart.
yeah.
I
Okay.
mean,
okay. I'm not saying they're not. It's just not
If
on
the
my
world,
list.
if the world was ending,
1990.
Okay, that's one of them. Okay, okay. So what we're gonna do for the contest is you got to be one on my list. Okay, that's not to say that yours aren't legit. So Diane got
Bad Moon Rising.
Diane. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
don't go out tonight. Buddy says The End by The Doors.
Yeah. Okay. So Buddy got that one. You know that song?
Yeah.
This is the end, my friend.
I don't know.
So you've never heard that
It's
one?
kind of creepy. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Seasons Don't Fear the Reaper. Is that considered End of the World?
No.
Well.
Okay. So Diane got Prince 1999. I can't believe y'all aren't getting one that's so obvious.
Wait, would 1984?
There's a song
count?
called The End of the World.
There is a song called 1984. Does that
Is there a song
count?
called The End of the World?
I think there is. I think there is, yeah.
Well, how about It's the End of the World as we know it? Do you know
Oh
that
my God,
song?
yes. I feel fine.
It's actually cool because then he starts like talking really fast and singing.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's REM, End of the World. Kind of obvious, but okay.
I said The End of the World.
Okay.
I didn't know that
Okay.
was the actual song, but I
Some of the other ones that you may not, some of these are a little bit more obscure, but how about, that song by Nina, 99 Luftballons?
Oh, that's about the end of the World.
Oh, I didn't realize that was
No, I think I'm of a different
That's
one.
about war, but it must be about, is anybody...
Does anyone agree with that?
It doesn't matter if they agree. It's on my list.
Is there a song
The
called
Rapture
Apocalypse?
by Blondie.
Okay, you said Bad Moon Rising, right?
Yes, I said Bad Moon
Okay,
Rising.
so got that
and I also
one.
got The End of the World, technically.
Yeah.
I did.
How about Talkin' World War III Blues by Bob Dylan?
You know,
No,
didn't
that's
think that
not-
one.
Did not think of
Okay,
that.
The Clash, London Calling? No. Crosby, Stills and Nash, Wooden Ships?
Oh, that one's considered End of the World too. I didn't
don't
think about
Yeah,
that.
I never even
I
heard
know
of
the
it.
song, but
oh,
I
do
didn't.
you? Okay. And then Jimi Hendrix, 1983.
Not 1984.
That's
is a song
That's
in
George
it.
Orwell.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
okay.
Okay, so Yvonne said 99 red balloons, so she did recognize that as being apocalyptic about the end of the world. But but I think my favorite's the REM one.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the end of the world.
world. It's so sad.
as
It's so
we
happy
know it.
sounding.
I know.
And I feel
fine.
People did not realize when they jumped on this show today that they were going to hear us singing so much. I would just like to say that all the songs the songs Tova and I mentioned are definitely about the end of the world. The world
Yeah.
was ending. There's a song called "If the World Was Ending." So
Yeah, I think I
the
think
world
next
was ending
week,
for Major Tom, or
oh,
the guy,
yeah.
not Major Tom. He's talking to. This is ground control to Major. Oh yeah,
his world was ending.
his world was ending.
Yeah.
So that could also count.
But then any song about death would be
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There's a flaw in the slaw there.
All right. Well, thanks. We had a lot of participation, lots of
Yes,
good stuff. I was thinking about maybe I see what Thomas says about the Antichrist.
Ooh.
Because
Nick, that'd be a whole other show.
yeah.
William's just out here planning all the rest of our shows.
Is he becoming the executive, like the producer?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, great to have you on. Congratulations about your big
Thank
news.
you.
And now you
Thank
get to
you.
go off like on a retreat or something.
Yes, I do.
She's going on a
So I'm
retreat,
really
Yeah,
so
excited
that's
she'll be
about
cool.
praying for everybody who's watching, right?
Yes, I will.
Yes. And those who are, us too.
Oh, yeah, I
right?
guess us
Oh,
too.
okay, I guess so.
All right. Thanks, William, Sissel, Tova, Diane. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next week, 1 o'clock Central Time, Back to the Father, okay? Talking about the Antichrist.
Thanks for joining us for Back to the Father. And don't forget, the glory of God is the human person fully alive. If you have comments about the show, email Dave Palmer at grnonline.com.